After 5 years of paying my parents' rent, I bought them a house. I thought I would finally have a home. A week later, my sister posted a photo on Facebook. "Thanks, Mom and Dad, for gifting me my first house." It was only then that I knew they had put the title in her name, but their faces turned pale. It was a Tuesday like any other when my world fell apart. I was having coffee at the office, scrolling through Facebook during my break, when I saw the photo. My sister Sarah, smiling radiantly in front of the house. My house. The house I had bought with my savings, my credit, my life. The caption hit me like a punch. "Thanks Mom and Dad for gifting me my first house." My hands were shaking so much I almost dropped my phone. 5 years. 5 damn years paying my parents' rent. 5 years sacrificing my own dreams, my own needs, my own life. And now, it turns out it was all a lie. Let me tell you how this nightmare began. It all started when I was 23. My parents, Roberto and Carmen, were always good people, but terrible with money. Dad worked in a factory, Mom as a part-time domestic worker. Their salaries barely covered the basics and the rent for the 2-bedroom apartment where we all lived. I had just gotten my first decent job as a systems technician. I wasn't making a fortune, but it was enough to become independent. I had it all planned out, move out, start my adult life. Maybe even get a girlfriend without the shame of living with my parents at 23. But then the crisis hit. Dad hurt his back at work and was out for 3 months without pay. The landlord threatened to evict them if they didn't pay the 2 months of back rent. Mom cried every night. Sarah, who was 20 at the time and studying graphic design, didn't work because, according to her, she needed to focus on her studies. I remember perfectly the night they asked me. We were having rice and eggs for the 3rd time that week when Dad cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Son, we need to talk to you," he said without looking up from his plate. I already knew what was coming. I had seen the eviction notices on the kitchen table. "We know you wanted to move out, but could you help us with the rent just until I recover and go back to work?" Sarah didn't even look up from her phone. She was too busy chatting with her friends to participate in family problems. "Of course, Dad, no problem," I replied. Though inside I felt like something was breaking. That temporary help turned into 5 years of my life. 5 years paying $800 a month in rent, plus utilities, plus family emergencies. 5 years watching Sarah finish her degree without working a single day, watching her go on vacation with her friends while I canceled my plans. Watching her buy new clothes every month while I wore the same clothes for years. 5 years being the silent provider of the family. Meanwhile, Sarah was the princess, the one who was studying. The one with potential, the one who deserved opportunities. I was just the responsible brother, the one who already had it all figured out. The one who could carry everything because I was the strong one in the family. Do you know how much I sacrificed in those 5 years? Not just money, job opportunities in other cities, vacations. Dates. My ex-girlfriend Lucia broke up with me because after 2 years of being together, I was still living with my parents and never had money to go out. It hurt her to see me so limited. So tied to responsibilities that weren't mine. "I can't compete with your family," she told me the day we broke up. "They will always be your priority." And she was right. But everything changed 3 months ago. The apartment owners decided to sell, and my parents had to move. The rental market was impossible, prices had skyrocketed. That's when I made the stupidest decision of my life. "I'm going to buy you a house," I told them. "A home of your own so you never have to worry about evictions again." Their faces lit up. Sarah even put down her phone to hug me. For the first time in years, I felt like I was doing something truly important for my family. I searched for weeks until I found the perfect house. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a small yard in a quiet neighborhood. It wasn't luxurious, but it was decent. It was a home. The paperwork was a nightmare, but I did it. Mortgage in my name. Down payment with my 5 years of savings. Signatures and more signatures. On moving day, we all cried with emotion. Even Sarah helped carry boxes. They finally had their home. I had finally fulfilled my promise to take care of my family. The first few weeks were magical. Mom cooked with more enthusiasm in her new kitchen. Dad fixed up the yard with his own hands. Sarah decorated her room just as she had always dreamed. I stayed in the smallest room, but I didn't care. Seeing them happy filled me with joy. Until I saw that photo on Facebook. I called her immediately. She answered with that sweet little voice she used when she knew she had messed up. "Hey, bro. How are you?" "Sarah, what does that photo mean?" I replied, trying to stay calm. "What photo?" "The one on Facebook. The one of your house." There was a long, long silence. "Oh, that one. Well, it's technically mine." "What do you mean?" "Technically yours. I bought it. I paid for it. I signed for it." "Yes, but Mom and Dad put the title in my name. They said it was for the best for everyone." I felt as if ice water had been thrown on me, or as if I had been kicked in the stomach, or both. When did they do that?" "Last week." "Oh, bro, don't be mad. The house is still in the family, it's just in my name now for, legal reasons." I hung up the phone. 5 years of my life, 5 years of sacrifices. 5 years believing I was building something for my family, for our future. And it turns out, all this time, I was building Sarah's future. I couldn't sleep that night. I tossed and turned in bed, thinking about all the times I had said I can't to opportunities, to outings, to life, because I was supporting my family. All the times I had chosen my family over myself. And they had chosen Sarah over me. The next day, I took the day off from work. I had to talk to my parents face to face. I had to understand what had happened, why they had done this behind my back. I had to understand why they had betrayed 5 years of my life. But what I would discover that afternoon would be much worse than I imagined. I arrived at the house at 10 a.m. It was strange to be there on a weekday, but I needed answers. I rang the doorbell of my own house with my keys in my hand, but for some reason, I couldn't bring myself to use them. I no longer knew if I had the right. Mom opened the door with a scared look on her face. "Son, what are you doing here so early? Weren't you supposed to be at work?" "We need to talk, Mom. The 3 of us." She turned pale. She knew exactly what I wanted to talk about. Sarah was having breakfast in the kitchen, calm as if nothing had happened. Dad was reading the newspaper on the patio, a perfect family scene in the house I had bought, but which apparently was no longer mine. I sat down at the kitchen table. The same table where 5 years ago they had asked me for help for the first time. "Explain to me what happened with the house," I said, getting straight to the point. Dad slowly folded the newspaper. Mom started washing dishes that were already clean. Sarah continued eating her breakfast as if the conversation had nothing to do with her. "Look, son," Dad began, "we were talking, and well, we thought it was for the best this way." "Best how?" "Best to betray me after 5 years of supporting you." "It's not betrayal, it's family planning," Mom intervened. "You already have your job. Your future is secure. Sarah needs stability." "Stability?" "Sarah has never worked a day in her life." Sarah looked up for the first time. "That's not true. I did internships. Unpaid internships for 2 months, Sarah. That's not working." "Oh, please. Not all of us can be systems technicians at 23, she said with that tone that irritated me so much. "You know what? It doesn't matter what Sarah has or hasn't done. What matters is that I bought this house with my money, my credit, my sacrifices." Dad sighed as if I were a child throwing a tantrum. "Daniel, your sister needs more help than you do. You're already established." "Established? I live in a 2-by-2 room with you at 28, and I'm established. It's temporary. When you get married. You and your wife can stay here too, Mom said, as if it were the most obvious solution in the world. I stared at her, unable to believe what I had just heard. Are you serious? Do you think any woman is going to want to marry me knowing I live in my sister's house? Technically, we're still a family. The house is for everyone, Sarah clarified. No, Sarah. Technically the house is yours. That's what Facebook says. That's what the papers say. That's what you all decided behind my back. The silence became thick. Mom stopped pretending to wash dishes. Dad looked uncomfortable. Sarah finally seemed to understand that maybe there was something wrong with all of this. When did you decide this? I want to know when. Dad and Mom looked at each other. One of those couple exchanges that mean, do we tell him the truth? About 3 months ago, Dad finally admitted. 3 months. Before I even bought the house. Well, yes. We thought it was the best way to buy it together. I signed, believing it was for you, for the family. And it is for the family, Mom insisted. It's just that now Sarah is the legal responsible party. I felt something definitively break inside me. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the realization that they had been planning this for months, lying to my face while I was killing myself working to get the down payment. You know what hurts the most? It's not just the money. It's the 5 years of my life I lost for you. You didn't lose anything, Daniel. You helped your family, Sarah said with a naturalness that infuriated me. I didn't lose anything. I lost Lucia. I lost job opportunities in other cities. I lost the chance to have my own life because I was busy having yours. You'll get another girlfriend, Sarah said, shrugging. At that moment, I knew there was no turning back. My sister truly believed my sacrifices didn't matter. My parents truly believed I existed to solve their problems. I got up from the table and went to my room. I needed to think, but I also needed to look for something. I remembered saving some documents from the house purchase. What I found left me cold. In a folder I thought contained copies of the house papers, I found something worse, invoices. Invoices for renovations I had paid for without asking many questions, painting, plumbing repairs. Changing the floors in 2 rooms. It had all been to increase the value of the house they were going to put in Sarah's name. But that wasn't the worst part. At the bottom of the folder, I found papers from the lawyer, the same lawyer who had handled the house purchase, dated 2 months before the purchase. It was a legal consultation about family property transfer and tax optimization for heirs. They had been planning to transfer the house to Sarah for 2 months before I even bought it. I went back to the kitchen with the papers in my hand. I wasn't angry anymore, I was shattered. This. What is this? I showed them the documents. Dad turned white. Mom started babbling nonsensical explanations. Sarah took the papers and read them quickly. Well, we had to plan things properly, she said, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Plan. Plan to rob me? It's not robbing, it's smart family planning. The lawyer said it was better this way for tax reasons. What lawyer? Mr. Morales, the same one who handled the purchase. My lawyer. The lawyer I hired and paid had been advising my family on how to take the house from me. He knew from the beginning they were going to do this. Of course, it was his idea, in fact. I felt nauseous. Literally. It had all been a farce from the beginning. I thought I was buying a house for my family, and everyone knew I was actually buying a house for Sarah. Who else knew? Silence. Who else knew? Well, Uncle Jorge helped us with some financial advice, Mom whispered. And Aunt Marta too, of course. Half of the family knew they were scamming me. And no one said a thing. You know what hurts the most? It's not that you took the house from me. It's that all of you, absolutely all of you, thought I was so stupid I wouldn't notice. That's not true, Dad protested weakly. No. Then why did Sarah post that photo on Facebook if you really didn't want me to find out? Why show off on social media? Sarah blushed for the first time in the entire conversation. It was thoughtless. I was excited. Excited? About what? Getting a new house for free? It's not free. It's family planning. It was incredible. They truly believed they were right. They truly believed I should be grateful for the opportunity to buy my sister a house. I stood up again. I had nothing more to say. I'm going to consult a lawyer. My own lawyer this time. Daniel, don't make this more complicated than it is, Mom pleaded. More complicated? Mom, you stole from me. My own family stole 5 years of my life and a house from me. We didn't steal anything from you. Family is family. Yes, Mom. Family is family. And I just found out that you never considered me a part of it. I walked out of the house, slamming the door. It was the first time in 5 years I had left that place angry. And it would probably be the last time I would enter it as if it were my home. Because it wasn't anymore. It never had been. The lawyer I consulted gave me the worst possible news. Legally. There was nothing I could do. Technically, the property transfer had been legal. My parents were the original owners on the purchase documents and had the right to transfer the property to whomever they wanted. But there was something the lawyer mentioned in passing that sparked an idea. Did your sister declare the property as a gift? Because if so, she must pay taxes on the full value of the house. I didn't know, but I was going to find out. I couldn't sleep that night. Not from sadness this time, but from something more dangerous. I had a plan. The next day, I started my investigation. First, I called the tax office, pretending to be Sarah, to inquire about my new property. Good morning. I wanted to know if I need to make any special declaration for a house my parents gifted me. Of course, miss. All real estate gifts must be declared and the corresponding tax paid. Have you made the declaration yet? No, I didn't know I had to. The deadline is 30 days from the transfer. If you don't declare, there are penalties and interest. I hung up with a smile. Sarah had no idea she had to declare anything. And from what I knew of her, she didn't have the money to pay taxes on an $80,000 house. But I needed more information. That's when I remembered Martin. Martin had been Sarah's boyfriend for 2 years, a good guy who worked in accounting and had broken up with her 6 months ago because Sarah didn't have her feet on the ground. I had always liked him. I sent him a message, "Hey Martin. Could we talk? It's about Sarah, but it's not what you think." He replied within an hour. "Sure, Daniel, everything okay?" We met that afternoon at a cafe. When I told him the whole story, his face changed from surprise to indignation to something resembling vengeful satisfaction. "I'm not surprised at all," he said when I finished. "Sarah always believed the world owed her everything. Do you know anything that might help me understand her financial situation?" Martin thought for a moment. Then smiled in a way I had never seen before. "You know Sarah has student loans she never paid, right?" I had no idea. "About $15,000. Your parents co-signed for them. And now that she's working part-time at that design agency, she technically should be paying them." This was getting better. "And do you know exactly where she works?" "At Creativos Unidos. But let me tell you a secret, she's working under the table. She's not registered. She complains all the time that they pay her little. But she doesn't want to be registered because she'd lose some social benefits." Perfect. Sarah was working under the table, had unpaid student debts, had just received an $80,000 property she hadn't declared, and on top of that, was still collecting some subsidies. I had everything I needed. That night, I did 3 things. First, I made an anonymous call to the tax office to report possible tax evasion. A person I know received a house as a gift, and I believe she hasn't declared it. I gave them Sarah's full name and the property address. Second, I called the agency that handles student loans to inform them that the debtor had a new ability to pay and a property in her name. Third, I sent an anonymous email to the tax authority reporting undeclared work at Creativos Unidos. And then I sat back and waited. I didn't have to wait long. A week later, Sarah called me. Hysterical. Daniel, I need to talk to you. Urgently. What's wrong? The tax office came by. They say I owe about $8,000 in taxes for the house. How can that be? Oh, right. Gifts are taxed. You didn't know? No, nobody told me. And on top of that, they gave me 15 days to pay, or they'll seize the house. What a problem, Sarah. Daniel, I need you to lend me the money. I laughed. Literally laughed on the phone. I'm sorry. Please, it's a family emergency. Oh, so now I'm family. How interesting. Please, brother, I promise I'll pay you back. With what are you going to pay me, Sarah? With your unregistered part-time job? Silence. A very long silence. How do you know I'm not registered? You know what, Sarah? It's not my problem. It's your house, your taxes. 3 days later, my dad called. Son, we need to talk. Sarah is desperate about the taxes. Dad, it's not my problem. But it's family. Family. Like when you decided behind my back to steal my house. We didn't steal anything from you. Dad, I need you to understand something very clearly. You chose. You chose for Sarah to be more important than me. You chose to lie to me and betray me. Now you have to deal with your choice. But she's going to lose the house. Maybe she'll learn something. You're so cruel, Daniel. Cruel. I'm cruel, Dad. I sacrificed 5 years of my life for you. 5 years. And you paid me back with betrayal. If that's not cruelty, I don't know what is. I hung up on him too. But it didn't end there. A week later, Sarah lost her job. Apparently, when the tax office investigated Creativos Unidos for the undeclared work, they decided to fire all the unregistered employees to avoid problems. And 2 weeks after that, the letter from the student loan office arrived. Since Sarah now had a property in her name, she lost her deferment for economic hardship and had to pay $15,000 immediately. Sarah called me, crying. Daniel, please, I'm going to lose everything. Yes, probably. How can you be so cold? Sarah, I'm going to explain something very simple to you. For 5 years, you all saw me as an ATM, as someone who existed to solve your problems. You never cared about what I sacrificed or what I needed. Now that you have real problems, you want me to keep being your ATM. But we're siblings. Siblings don't betray each other, Sarah. Siblings don't lie to each other for months. Siblings don't steal the house from the brother who supported them for 5 years. Please. No, Sarah. It's over. You wanted the house to be yours. Now let it be truly yours, with everything that implies. In the end, Sarah lost the house. She couldn't pay the taxes or the student loans. The bank foreclosed on the mortgage and auctioned the property. My parents had to move back into a rental apartment, but this time, no one was paying their rent. Sarah moved in with 2 roommates into a studio apartment in the worst neighborhood in the city. And I bought my own house, smaller, more modest, but mine, all mine. It's been 6 months since all this. My parents have called me several times, apologizing, asking for us to be a family again. Sarah wrote me a 5-page letter explaining that she didn't know what she was doing, and that she never wanted to hurt me. I haven't answered them because I learned something important. Family isn't the one who shares your blood. Family is the one who respects you, values you, and would never betray you for convenience. And that family, unfortunately, was never mine. For those who asked in the comments, yes, it was worth it. It's not revenge, it's justice. They made decisions and faced the consequences. I made decisions and also faced mine. My new house is perfect, small, but mine. I have a new girlfriend, Patricia, a coworker who respects my boundaries, and for the first time in years, my salary is my own. For those in similar situations, set boundaries. Your family doesn't have the right to exploit you just because you're family. And Sarah, if you're reading this, I hope you've learned that actions have consequences. And that was the story of how 5 years of sacrifice turned into the most expensive, but most valuable lesson of my life. What did you think of this story? Do you think I did the right thing, or was I too hard on my family? If you liked this story and want to hear more stories like it, don't forget to subscribe to Echoes of History. Here we share the most impactful, emotional, and revealing experiences that people live in real life. Give it a like if you believe that family has no right to take advantage of you. Comment with your opinion. Have you experienced something similar? What would you have done in my place? Do you think Sarah and my parents deserved what happened to them? Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any stories. Every week we upload cases that will make you reflect on family relationships, love, betrayal, and justice.